So I think we can go ahead with the next session. The title is Business and Innovation Ecosystems Enabling Economic Growth. So let's make this a bit more specific. It has to do with networks of associated enterprises which apply technology and innovation in order to contribute to the development and growth of a city. Such businesses are sorely needed in Thessaloniki. And that's why I would like to thank the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for organizing this conference, whose aim is the development of cities, which is something that we potentially need in Thessaloniki more than in other places. Why? Well, because we have learned to live in a city that has the characteristic features of a capital city rather than a province, which means that we go against any effort, any lack of action that which could potentially raise the level of the city. This morning, we heard a lot from Mr. Staikouras about projects being implemented in Thessaloniki in recent times. He also spoke about the railway network that is connecting many ports of Greece and about the work done there. But he forgot to mention anything much about the port of Thessaloniki, which is something that Mr. Tsaras is going to talk about, the Port Authority and the railway system. Of course, the president of the Federation of Industries of Greece tackled the issue instead. And then Mr. Angeloudis, the mayor of Thessaloniki, also spoke about one issue that could lead the city to further growth, and spoke about improving the quality of life of citizens. And then Mr. Andriopoulos spoke about the importance of the local economy, which needs to be at a good level, so that we can also attract entrepreneurs who are the ones that lead to further development. Finally, Mr. Andriadis mentioned that for any city to develop, communication is important, and the local community. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. So that's what we also want to mobilize. We want the community to be in favor of the city's economic growth. So we will be organizing an event on the 3rd of December at the Thessaloniki International Fair in order to put forward the need for a master plan for Thessaloniki and the need to turn our city into a metropolitan administration city. We are going to be discussing all this on Tuesday, and you are all invited to come and listen to them. The truth is, only economy can mobilize a city, because we all ask for our city to offer employment so that our children don't have to migrate to other places. We want to have specialized staff. This is something that we all share. Our speakers here today will be talking about ecosystems. Their businesses are indeed ecosystems, and they shall give us the opportunity to hear about them, what they are, what their characteristics and their goals are. And for that reason, I shall first give the floor to Mr. Tsaras, representing the Thessaloniki Port Authority, who is going to outline these needs. Hello. Thank you very much for the invitation. The topics covered by the event have been extremely interesting, along with the statements of the Federation of Industries of Greece chairman, who mentioned the topics that are crucial, and the statements by Mr. Staikouras, the minister. The Port of Thessaloniki, well, we've spoken about it repeatedly, the investments, its activities, etc. What I wanted to say before I repeat all this is to speak about the role of the port as an ecosystem in relation to the city's resilience. First of all, there's the economic resilience and connection to global markets because the port is indeed an important hub from a commercial perspective. And for this reason, since a large number of commodities are imported and exported through the airport, it strengthens the resilience of the local economy of Thessaloniki. In addition to that, it is an employer to a large number of people, not only the port itself, but this whole ecosystem. And, shipping agents, logistics centers, customs clearance, etc. A whole network of jobs that also support the city's resilience. The port has been in the city for centuries, after all, and has always helped Thessaloniki in several ways. We collaborate with the other ports abroad and foreign authorities and bodies helping the city's growth. I'd like to mention 3 examples. The port is a free zone, free customs zone, and recently it was connected with the economic zone of the Suez Canal, which helps us greatly in simplifying commercial transactions of freight between going through the port, the Suez and Thessaloniki. Also, we have developed a similar connection with Gdansk in the north, with a free customs zone that allows us now to provide services through the 3 Seas program. And the 3 major stops are Poland, Thessaloniki, and then Asia in a smart, quick way. Finally, an innovative collaboration with Ashdod port in Israel, which focuses on innovation and safety, cybersecurity, and operational safety on a port level vis-à-vis terrorist actions, etc., at a much higher level than the ISPS, which is mandatory. The logistic chain and crisis management are 2 very important issues also, and we have carried out exercises at the port in the case of a natural disaster in order to know how to address such problems and help the logistics chain recover, which may have been affected. And I do indeed see that problems that are occurring to the north and south of Greece due to the war have led to a strengthening of problems, but the strengthening of the logistic chain have been able to deal with these and has been operating efficiently. Could you also tell us why? Talk to us about the connection between the port and the railway network. Yes, I don't know why the minister didn't mention that. We are constantly in communication with the minister, Mr. Tachiaos. This is a very complex issue, particularly the contract of Thessaloniki and its connection to the west. We have the connection, but it goes through the city and it interrupts the city. This connection has not yet been turned into a study. Its cost is right now estimated about 50 to 100 million euros. There have been some initial changes to the study that we requested from the ministry, and they have been accepted, and it's been included in a program, as mentioned by the minister this morning. Are we talking about 2025, 2024 we're talking about, and was included, but I assume that it's now going to be carried over to 2025. In any case, until the studies are completed, etc., or when the studies are ready, it'll take 3.5 years for this connection between the port and the railway system because we need double bridges for it to be completed. Thank you very much. Now, a question to Mr. Efthymiadis, who already has a business ecosystem being planned. First of all, I would like to thank the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for the invitation. I thought you were going to talk about my business, but I've given it up 12 years ago, and now I'm working on a different topic that is of interest to all businesses. It was something that a former president was really focusing on, but our question then was, okay, do we really have a business ecosystem in Thessaloniki? I'd like to say that I'm delighted we're finally using the term resilience, either in relation to smart cities, growth, or the local ecosystem. And we really need to focus and insist on its use, on the word resilience, because this is a social innovation indeed. Social, I would like to underline. Until now, we spoke about innovation more specifically, but social innovations are really befitting to our city in relation to what we've heard so far. Let me reiterate a couple of words from all that's been said. Some of the statements were quite formal and stereotypical. I would like to reiterate what our mayor said, that first of all, we need to focus on our own city and make it a sustainable city, and also what Mr. Andreadi said, an old colleague of mine, who said that we need to find the way ourselves to cooperate within the city and to strengthen our relationships with one another. Both Yanis Tsaras and Tasos Zikas, who is going to speak later on, from what I understand, are in charge of two major pillars of development that, of course, are closely related to the local resilience. But, in my opinion, these two pillars need to be further reinforced and supported by a broader social support, resilience, and innovation. Our city is currently facing a great opportunity. And as I've said before, on many occasions, and this is something that we all agree on, that Europe has lost the share of innovation it enjoyed in the previous century. But it is still strong with regard to its human resources. But even more importantly for Europe, I think that it needs to refocus on innovation. And in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, this is also closely related to the interest shown for Greece, which is a small country which may not have taken part in the industrial revolution of fossil fuel and the steel industry, but nevertheless, it is now currently able to look at European recovery by developing its innovation and human resources and offer something that is even larger than its size. A small economy, a small country, but a very long tradition and human resources, a large number of extroverted businesses that export more and more, and also a rapidly increasing number of startups which set the example for new products and services, and much more. Thessaloniki has the opportunity today, and that is the quintessence of how we should look to the future with regard to the city. Private initiative, particularly the part that has to do with shifting innovation towards industry, creates an opportunity for innovation bodies to come together in the city in order to develop an ecosystem that works together, creating clusters under the same roof. And that is precisely what the initiative I'm presenting here does, Thesintech, namely. The goal of this initiative is to tackle the flow of knowledge, and this is something that the previous speakers also mentioned, that many technologies together, when brought together, can provide the key for developing new ideas, products, and services. So I believe that we need to set aside the pillars of development, such as the port, the Thessaloniki International Fair and its culture, and focus on its own ecosystem based on its 3 universities, the CERT, startups, extroverted companies. All these can work together in order to offer the utmost to the city if they work closely. And now let me come to the set of questions. Within this framework of resilience and smart cities and growth for Thessaloniki, I think what is essential is to create and adopt creative relationships of collaboration between the academic research and research community and the business community, although there are still reservations and hesitations, but we are moving in the right direction. Initiatives for the development of this ecosystem should also be developed by the regional authorities and local authorities in general and by the state, which needs to overcome well-known hesitancy of the past. So many steps have been taken with regard to digital transformation, but the monster, let's say, of bureaucracy still holds strong, and it needs to be tackled. And our local MPs can also help us in this. We also need to look at an initiative for connecting Thessaloniki with foreign universities as well. Greek universities are very good, of course, but we need to see also how we can attract resources from foreign universities and also have a program for attracting Greek professors and researchers back to Greece who have flooded the universities of Europe and the US. Many of us know that Greece is in the top positions with regard to qualified personnel and degree holders on a global level. But on the other hand, we lost 500,000 people in the previous decade to other countries. So this is a disease that we need to overcome. So we need to attract these people back to Greece and have the brain gain, and also people like the previous interlocutors working abroad who can come and serve the sectors in which they specialize. Something I believe that will change the rules of the game with regard to innovation and the collaboration of various entities with regard to innovation is the new institutional framework with regard to the distribution of resources to innovation in Greece. We need to put an end to the system whereby we give our money unilaterally without a lot of thought only to research. Businesses should also enter this equation and industries as well. And I think what is going to change the situation is industry-based innovation that can bring the people closer together, can channel money from the industry to research and create added wealth and employment.
Thank you, Mr. Efthymiadis, for your initial comments. You raised indeed this issue of lack of collaboration. This always remains a problem that needs to be addressed. Not anyone should try and achieve things on their own. Possibly we could now be joined by Mr. Gikas. Good evening, Mr. Papaioannou. Yes, we have discussed the issue of the Thessaloniki International Trade Fair on several occasions. You are a strong ecosystem, of course. Can you tell us how you operate and how you can develop further? I would like to start by greeting all the great speakers in this panel, Messieurs Efthymiadis, Simopoulos and Tsaras. Before thanking the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event on urban resilience, I would like to say that based on my personal experience of new technologies, it is indeed a very important thing to see this sector becoming a strategic sector for the economy of this city. The initiative of THES and Tech, the one about Technopolis around 23 years ago, the CERT Institute, our universities provide a competitive advantage to our city, and this has led to many international companies having installed some part of their activities here, Pfizer, Deloitte, etc., among them. Despite all the disindustrialization issues that the city has faced in recent decades, there still remains a positive message according to which Thessaloniki can become, thanks to its universities and its research centers, can become this vision, can make this vision a reality. Now, coming to the project concerning the International Trade Fair of Thessaloniki, we have been working on this at least since 13 years now. Something that is of interest to all of us is the attractiveness of the city in order for it to be competitive and keep its people here, retain its human capital here. In order for a city to be attractive, it needs to have the infrastructure required, it needs to have a competitive economy, as well as be aesthetically attractive. That is, have an architectural footprint that is attractive for its residents, visitors, tourists, and young people. So Thessaloniki has a natural charisma, of course. It has not acquired enough infrastructure in recent decades in order for it to remain competitive, and its economy has also been reduced considerably in recent years. I think, however, that in the current decade, the situation has started to change. There are still lots of things that need to be done. For example, the regeneration project for Helexpo, Thessaloniki International Trade Fair, being among these initiatives and projects. Let me tell you a few words about this project. Thessaloniki International Fair, such as the Port Authority of Thessaloniki, is one of its main competitive advantages. That is, we have been operating since 1980 years already. In 2026, we will be celebrating our 100th anniversary, and this means that this city is an exhibition city, and this I had this opportunity to work on this, to work with Helexpo since 2012, and the first thing that we do during those years is to improve infrastructure, because this we were about to lose this competitive advantage that we have because our infrastructure are not efficient enough. We are located in the heart of the city. However, if we do not manage to renovate our infrastructure, then we won't be able to retain this advantage, this competitive advantage. Therefore, we need to renovate all this infrastructure. We started back in 2012 by producing a master plan and an international architectural tender with more than 100 proposals from the whole globe. We have proposals about creating both a metropolitan park and a convention center and an exhibition center of a middle size. We do not need a pharaonic size for this exhibition center. Therefore, we do have a plan that can provide an exhibition center, effective exhibition center for the next for the years to come. It will cost around 300 millions, with the government providing 100 millions for the implementation of this project, plus another 120 million to be provided by the private investor who will undertake this project. And there is indeed great interest. Together with Taipei, we will launch this tender for the company to be awarded this construction. Therefore, a very large project is about to be underway. This will be a project that will improve the daily lives of residents considerably. With a park of 100 stremas or 10 hectares, it will also be an asset for the competitiveness of the exhibition center. Now, could you tell us how much time would be required in order for this project to become a reality, to be implemented? So we hope that should this implementation start in 2026, we will need about 5 years to complete this project, and that will take the city to the next level, will make it more competitive, and will give it a stronger economy. So we're gonna need this period of time of 5 years, because the fair will need to be operating throughout this period. You cannot stay out of the market, not even one single day. So I remain optimistic. I think that this project will make this city much more attractive to everyone, and mostly to our children. I hope that this will soon become a realistic project. Otherwise, the money provided by the state won't be enough, because prices change all the time. And now to Mr. Simopoulos, who will tell us, we will comment upon this on the part of the Greek government. Thank you to the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for their invitation. Basically, future-ready cities and innovation can help enormously with growth and development. I have just arrived from Finland this morning, and my message to you is do it like Finland. I have spent 3 years in Helsinki, a city that has left behind all these discussions that we have been doing since this morning. It is a city that is now talking about the future and trying to become a real resilient city. I have also visited Slash. Do you know what this is? This is the most important gathering of startups in Europe currently. 13,000 visitors in only 2 days, and 3,500 startups being present there. An innovation party. So do it like Finland. That's my message to you, to all of us. We have making progresses in recent years. For example, in terms of planning digital projects in the framework of the Recovery Fund. We are talking about smart cameras and smart traffic lights to regulate traffic. Within this planning, we are implementing projects which, with the use of AI, will be combining the recording of data from cameras, traffic lights, and possibly underground sensors, the parking places that are available at any time, either private or public ones. Therefore, we are still at the planning phase. There are, however, projects that are already being implemented. We do have, for example, a project implemented by the Organization of Urban Transportation of Thessaloniki, which is about the automatic obliteration of tickets, validation of tickets. We're talking about smart bridges using sensors to see to what extent bridges sustain damage. There is also the registry of national infrastructures, the infrastructure that would make it much more easy for us to know when all those public buildings were built, what their characteristics are, how this infrastructure can become a smart one. We have also seen the relevant ministry taking action across several other sectors to improve the urban landscape and the situation of our public buildings. However, all this requires innovation. What do we do in terms of innovation? We have now realized that infrastructure creation is absolutely necessary, but we are still lagging behind as opposed to countries like Finland, which I already mentioned. There are some public-private projects, partnerships underway, and other programs concerning innovation that are already underway. These need to be updated and include other elements concerning a closer collaboration between the state and the private entities. In terms of innovation, we are ranking very low in European terms. In the Slash event that I mentioned, this is a non-profit event that is organized by students. Can you imagine that? The students have brought a huge income to the city by organizing such an event. Could we do such a thing here? We need to start from scratch, basically. Of course, there are positive steps taking, the creation of threats intake, for example, the creation of clusters, big businesses that have now installed some part of their operations here. We also have Daedalus and the Pharos project program through which Daedalus will be developing further, and this supercomputer will provide opportunities for developing AI applications in both the public and the private sector. However, these are only the first steps that are now being taken and that need to be accelerated. Including in the case of Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki can become a technology hub, but in order for the city to become such a hub, municipalities need to play their own role. They have their own mobility plans, which was basically about distributing the amount of 30 or 40 million euros to some consultancy agencies. But will there be results at the end of this process? What does the local government do in terms of promoting those mobility plans, sustainable mobility plans? When I discussed this with the mayor of Thessaloniki a while ago, the first thing he told me is that I'm simply searching for money to build some pavements. Can you imagine that? So these efforts need to become more mature. The state is there and taking action, but recently I visited a company producing microsatellites in Finland. And the Greek state has indeed purchased two microsatellites from them. It is basically a startup which was financed at its beginning with 2 million euros from a Finnish university. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Mr. Simopoulos. Based on what we have heard so far, I think that we can now reach the following conclusion. If there is no metropolitan administration for Thessaloniki, it will always remain difficult to implement such projects. Yes, basically the previous project, but we're now talking about future projects. For example, having parking areas in the city and being able to know where available places are. Uh, you have, for example, now some streets belonging to three different municipal authorities within the agglomeration of Thessaloniki. This is why we need the metropolitan administration to tackle issues like that. And we also need a master plan, an updated master plan that will provide for the implementation of several projects with respective funding and people responsible for their implementation. This is where we should place our focus upon. And as we have already mentioned since this morning, the community is not always engaged in this process. The community does not participate actively in such efforts. Therefore, we need to help with the creation of some creators, the establishment of some creators in order for them to produce more work. And they Again, back to Mr. Efthymiadis. We are here faced with a unique opportunity. There are around 400 such innovation parks across Europe. We have here an area of 5.6 hectares right next to the airport of Thessaloniki, with around 30 businesses that are now willing to pay for the implementation of such an idea. We also have our universities and research institutes such as CERT, the Alexandrian Zone of Innovation, and the Association of Exporters. Preliminary work has already been made in terms of what this project should look like. Big companies have already expressed their interest in order for big companies to buy spaces and move some of their operations, some institutes in that business park, innovation park. People and entities from Israel have also expressed interest. There are other spaces that will host Greek businesses. And this is indeed a video which has been shortened from 5 minutes to 1 minute, and that shows what the current situation is in the area where Thesintec will be uh, built. We need to be very precise in terms of how we are proceeding with implementation. Sometimes the time required for specific processes can be very extended, and basically, this is where our buildings will be built of an overall area of around 230,000 square meters. This will create a flow of knowledge that will certainly provide results. Another 400 such innovation parks already exist in Europe. I am confident that starting from the end, we will eventually be able to compensate for all the time lost so far. Now, before concluding, let us say once again that we all mentioned universities, innovation and technologies always go through the work done at universities. The University of Thessaloniki is a very large one. At some point, I visited the House of Representatives in the UK, in London, and I read a phrase of Winston Churchill, which said that buildings are shaped by humans, and then they help shape humans themselves. Uh, in the case of our universities, I think that possibly our universities do not shape humans in the way they should, so possibly they should change some of their ways and methods, improve their buildings and infrastructure, and produce better scientists. Now, yes, once again, I would like to say that my message is do it like Finland. One of the main subjects across all university programs in Finland is about entrepreneurship. They teach students how they can become entrepreneurs. We don't have such subject matters here in Greek university programs. We have great researchers. We are given huge amounts of money by the European Union, but eventually small amounts of money actually reach the community. Basically, the innovation is about transferring knowledge from universities to the community, and that's not a reality so far. My last comment is the following. This was already mentioned by Mr. Andreadis and Mr. Efthimiadis. The city is now facing two main issues, faced with two major issues. We have lost many decades without developing the infrastructure required. There are also issues of cooperation. Recently, very recently, when the issue of the renovation of the Helexpo grounds was discussed in the city council, there were some objections from small groups within the city council, and it is a pity that lack of cooperation also exists within the city council when discussing such important projects. And another thing is that we need some kind of entrepreneurial patriotism to be developed among us. We need to realize that we all need to do more about this city. I call this entrepreneurial patriotism. We need to be more engaged in the production of products and innovation. Yes, in the context of our corporate social responsibility. Is this what you mean? Yes, of course. We all need, as creators and as individuals, as entities, we all need to take action within the city and produce things. My title for this is entrepreneurial patriotism. This is what this city needs. Yes, and possibly not only entrepreneurial patriotism, but also a local culture that needs to be further developed. And do not forget the example of the city of Trikala. Trikala is nowadays a truly clean city. And this is the result of the work of people that came back to Trikala with their degrees, and they were given incentives and money from the European Union, money that was used to improve their own city. Yes, this is our main problem. We are not able to converge behind one single idea to eventually implement things. Thank you all for participating in this panel.